Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to another Nerd Nation stream. We are talking WandaVision, episode 8, also known as Previously On. I'm here with my WandaVision maniacs, Cousin Cheeto and Gaz. How you doing, fellas?
Alright.
Hanging in there.
Great stuff. Now, this is the penultimate episode of WandaVision.
Hey, Sam, you need to maximize your screen.
I do? Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm watching the stream, and
Yes,
they
my bad.
can see your StreamYard.
Yes, my bad. I do apologize. Thank you very much for that. All right. I think we're safe to continue?
Yep, we're good.
Right. Okay, fine. So, let's start with the episode, shall we? In 1963, Salem, Massachusetts, we see Agatha being sacrificed. Initially,
1693.
Sorry, 1693, my bad. We see Agatha about to be sacrificed by, or initially I thought were a bunch of homesteads who want to sacrifice a witch, but no, it's other witches sacrificing Agatha. Now, apparently she stole knowledge and she practiced in dark magic. She said she did not break their rules, it just bent it to her power. Now the good witch coven begin with the sacrifice of Agnes. They start a ritual and then they start shooting these beams at her, but it ends up being reversed by Agatha, and she drains all their life, and then including her mother's life as well. She then takes her mother's brooch, and then we get into the present. Now, obviously, Boss Man, you want to add something, so please add something.
Well, this is the I don't know whether you guys have noticed this, and this is something that's going around online about the different kinds of magics that are in the Marvel universe. Now, the one that Agatha's using, which is the purple one, is usually tied to the dark dimension, which is the Babu's realm. So, has she been like communing not only with the devil, but specifically with the Babu? Like, are we going to see the Babu be involved? Like, is he like maybe influencing Agatha to? It's like, you need to get this person. You need to get to a state that she's going to snap and come over to my well. So could the Babu be like sort of like almost the devil on the Scarlet Witch's shoulder in this?
Well,
it's an idea.
It's an idea at the moment, but right now, I'll be honest. By seeing what's being shown in this, there's been more Easter eggs towards Mephisto and some of the more satanic sides of all of this shit than actually being demonstrated, because that fly later on is just there as a tool more than it turning into Mephisto itself. So I think it's more Easter eggs at the moment, and if they do end up obviously doing some of these sort of things, then this for me would be the sort of groundwork for it, not the be all and end all of it. You know, something like having a satanic creature, if they do that on the last episode, it's going to fall very flat. I don't know how you guys feel. No?
I mean, I feel like it needs to point towards something more, but I don't want all the answers right now. Like, Agatha can be the main villain here.
Yeah.
And maybe like the Easter eggs or something point towards something bigger, but I don't want Mephisto to show up next episode. I don't want Dormammu to show up next episode. I'm very content with Agatha Harkness being the main villain of this show right now. And that, and Wanda discovering her powers, us finding out what happens to Vision and the twins, and I don't want this big supernatural being to show up and then Wanda have to fight them. I'm good with Wanda versus Agatha right now.
We have two villains on this show, the other one being Hayward. They're two different villains with two different agendas. That's enough, Yeah,
I agree.
And
could Hayward be Mephisto?
I doubt it.
No, I think Haywood's Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I did see that last time.
Yeah.
And again, I do have evidence for this, but again, if you just turn up to Apocalypse, I'm gonna be like smoke. I'm gonna be like smoke mode.
Yes, no problem. I just feel with how they've developed Hayward so far that I don't feel he's anything along those lines of being Mephisto, or we're jumping to the end here, but we already saw what his agenda is, and it's to do with Vision. The same, Agatha is all about Wanda, and Hayward is all about Vision. That's really it. You know what I mean? They've both got an agenda with either of those two lovebirds. But let's just continue. So we're back in the current day now, and Wanda tries to read Agatha's mind, and she can't because she's surrounded by all these runes and stuff, and all these spells, and apparently that doesn't make her witchcraft work. And Agatha's questioning Wanda, so saying, "Don't you know all of these things?" You know, and she wants to know who Wanda is. She mentions that Pietro was a fake, which is interesting. I think there's more to come from Pietro, hopefully, because we saw none of the supporting cast really in this episode. There was no Monica. There was no current day Vision. There was no Darcy. There was no Jimmy. None of these guys. So that was interesting. Agatha is also, she is quite amazed by Wanda's powers. And she's wondering how she's got all these people under a spell. She's having magic happening on the other side. It's like magic on autopilot. She's not even having to manifest this shit. And she's not having to even subconsciously continue manifesting this shit. It's just happening. She turns the cicada bug into a bird, and she lets it fly around. She grabs it. She starts squeezing it, almost killing it, and then she throws it into that rabbit's mouth. I swear there's more to that rabbit that meets the eye, man. That rabbit is...
The rabbit is Apocalypse.
Mr. Scratchy. Yeah.
There you go.
Now, Agatha almost tortures Wanda, basically wanting to know how she created the hex. Wanda actually doesn't know. She doesn't remember. So Agatha pulls a piece of hair from her head, and then we have the beginning of A Christmas Carol. So what did you guys think of so far at the beginning when she was in the cabin? Because that's how it ended last episode, so we wanted to see something manifest from that. What do you guys think?
Well, I like that. What's going to be the bullshit strike for me, and I maybe like I'm not going to jump too far, but is if like Agatha's destroyed by the magic power of the Scarlet Witch, because literally even with I don't know how many witches was around during that coven, it looks about, like, to my eye, it looks about 10. And I think her mum was about 11. They're all like putting their magical power for us, and she can literally like just power her off. So she's got more power, at least as powerful as Scarlet Witch.
I was actually surprised that those witch spells, that particular witchcraft, was able to work on Scarlet Witch, on Wanda. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought she worked with a different set of rules, but obviously not. And we kind of find that out during the course of this episode. Bob, anything before I start going on about A Christmas Carol?
No, I mean, I do kind of like the way that they're going with Agatha here. I mean, really, I heard one other person describe it as professional jealousy, because she was, she was trying to figure out how she's doing the things she's doing because she wants to do them.
Yeah.
And I actually like this.
She's impressed by them as well.
Huh?
She's impressed by them as well. Like, she's manifesting shit at the side of town.
And it's believable.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like some big evil thing. She's just like, look, I've been pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, and I want to see the real you. And she's insinuating, and she's like, how did you learn this magic? How do you not know this basic, what is it, magic? I don't remember what she called it. But
yeah, by the way, I like the fact that, like, she goes, and when she tries to use the magic, she says, "Oh, I've got runes all around it." It's like, so she has limitations. She has weaknesses.
No, but I said earlier, like, I'm surprised this magic is working on Wanda. I thought she went. I thought she had a different set of rules. No.
Well, okay. If you go by comic book, no. She has. Well, and we'll get into this later. The chaos magic, which is magic. I mean, it just depends. See, right now they're kind of retconning what Scarlet Witch is in the MCU, but they're doing it very expensively. You know what I mean?
No problem.
Yeah, keep going.
We'll get to that bit. So we're now in Sokovia, about 20 years ago, when she was just a child, and Wanda's dad, who's not Magneto, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys picked up on that.
I did pick up on that.
Yeah, but I'm not fussed. I'm really not fussed whether her dad's Magneto or not. I don't give a fuck. I don't know about you guys. I really don't care.
Well, the thing is, in the comic books, sorry, I'm going to go on Nerd Nation on you. But in the comic books, that's what.
Yeah, I know that. I know her dad's supposed to be in the comic books, but
No, but it's part of the character development.
Yeah, but it's very hard. We're talking about the MCU here, boss man. We've got to give some leeway, make it all plausible. I mean, for Christ's sake, in X-Men 3, Juggernaut was not Xavier's stepbrother, but people gave it a pass. it was a shit film, but no one gave a fuck about that. You know what I mean?
I did.
I did too.
Hold on. On top of that,
They made Mystique the sister.
On top of that, they made Juggernaut. Not to get on a tangent, but they made Juggernaut a mutant. He's not a mutant.
Yeah, I know he's not a mutant. Magical.
His
I know.
stuff is derived from magic.
But what I'm saying is, like, you guys have to understand, when it comes to this comic book shit, they're using references. They're trying to do their best, to merge comic into the MCU. So let's not try to take everything from the comics and think it's going to immediately has to be that. You know, we have to understand that things have to be bent a bit. Good guys might be bad guys might be good guys. That's how it goes. You know? Well,
and that's what I'm saying, Zam, is that I get it, blow for blow. I don't want things like the comic books. The comic books are so fucked up most times that it's better than than doing what the comic books did. But I just wanted to say earlier is that Scarlet Witch's parents is technically not Magneto. It technically they retconned that back a couple years ago. So I mean, like in the comic books, even it's back and forth. I mean, we don't know.
I don't want them to somehow.
We need more Povich to figure this out.
I don't want them to do a fucking, Terry McGinnis angle in Batman Beyond where we find out Bruce Wayne was his dad all along. Do not do that. Yeah, with Magneto and shit like that. You know, I mean, it'll be pissing me off if they do bring him in. They don't need to force him in to be
okay, but to counterpoint that's how it was in the comic books. Originally in the 60s, we didn't know that Magneto was the father. But then they found out later that he was the father. So I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, if they're
I'm just saying right now, a character like Magneto is not in this universe. They're kind of doing it, like. But Magneto's not in this universe so far. Yet. Yeah, but if he does come into this universe, they got to make it very plausible how he was here all along doing Magneto shit, and somehow we never fucking knew about it. I would just hope they would pull Magneto from another universe. And then how does he end up being the father of somebody? And how does he end up being the father of somebody from a different universe? Is it going to be like Barry Allen and Jay Garrick from fucking the CW? Is that how they're going to do it? Magneto's seed is sprawled across the universe. All right, look, let's just continue, okay? So it's Wanda's dad, it sells DVDs of American sitcoms, but he wasn't able to sell any today, so it's sitcom night at the Maximoff home, and when it's sitcom night at the Maximoff home, they have to speak English on that night, so they improve their English and stuff like that. Well, a very clever way, so we don't have to do subtitles because I know Americans hate to read. They decide to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and I know, just taking the piss. And then as they start watching the show, their house blows up. That was just brilliant how that happened, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. We see, you know what? There were some things I was expecting to see, and I saw it. I was expecting immediately after that scene for a little baby Wanda, a little child Wanda, to see a fucking Stark Industries missile, and she did. Whether she stopped it with her magic or not, we don't know, but it doesn't detonate. But after that moment of the past ends, Agatha didn't ask her, why did the bomb not blow up? And Wanda said it was probably faulty, and and that's why it didn't detonate. But that was that scene over with. Before we go into the next scene, what did you guys think of that moment in Sokovia? I'll start with you, boss man.
It was great because you see them getting killed, and then you see them like outside. It's almost like a jagged little bit of a rock thing, isn't it? And then that thing from Stark comes down in front of them. Yeah. And you see like a boop, and it's like, oh my god. I
think that's also tied in with the toaster in the first episode with the, with the beeping. I think there's a correlation there, if you know what I mean. But anyways,
I'm both like, and the thing is like, and then they're just talking about we need to get out of here and need people trying to help us, this sort of thing, and that's sort of thing I kind of like, where the kids, and they don't know quite who to trust, because the people who are there, people that they would trust, are dead. So how could they trust anybody? And I kind of get that. I think it kind of deals with the idea of what's the word, foster or adoption in this sort of way. Because again, a lot of kids who get displaced and do that. And I think that this is what this is dealing with.
You can understand why she ended up joining Hydra, in my opinion, because she saw a Stark Industries missile outside her house, trying to blow her up, and Hydra hates Shield and all of them, so that's why she joined them. Also, it kind of started showing the seeds a little bit of Wanda's loneliness. I mean, she lost her family that day, she lost her brother, she lost Vision, but we'll get more into that. What do you think, Bob, of that scene in Sokovia?
I liked it. I mean, it was backstory on Wanda, but yeah, I mean, it was good. It's what I wanted. Like, you know, if I wanted to see the origin of you know, the Wanda and Pietro, I mean, this was it. I mean, it was kind of pretty straightforward. It's what she described in Age of Ultron, and I guess her casting I mean, she does talk about the probability spell, which in the comic books, Scarlet Witch was I think it was hex magic, and she was able to warp the probabilities of reality, is what I believe her power set was. And I'd have to go back to my 1992 Marvel Comics card set to figure out if that's actually what it was or not. But I mean, it's pretty. I mean, they're really, as I said, this is just a very expensive retcon of her powers, because originally in Age of Ultron, it's like, oh yeah, she can read people's minds, she can move things with her hands, and it's like, now they're like, okay, we're retconning this to be more magical, like the comic books, rather than anything else. And I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm not saying there's a problem with it. I'm great with this. I love it.
It just makes in about Pietro. Did he get his powers from the Mind Stone, or does he have some magic abilities that we never knew about? But he is a twin after all, so theoretically, he shares the same DNA as Wanda.
Yeah, so I mean, they might be hinting at mutants, you know, exposed to the. But that's what we're saying here. Is that
I don't think she's a mutant. I think she's a witch. I think they're both witches.
But here's the thing: she's a mutant. Well, okay. Here's the thing: in the comics, and I know we're not talking comics, we're talking MCU, but in the comics, and I have an endpoint here. In the comics, she is a mutant, but her mutant ability is she's naturally imbued with magic. Like, she is good at magic because of her mutant ability.
So the science of it all, when it comes to witches, is just generally they're all mutants. Would you say that? All different types of mutants, the witches.
No, I think they're saying that the Infinity Stone, the Infinity Stone unlocks something that was dormant. They said that verbatim.
Let's get to that. Yeah. See, we're now in the Hydra facility, because Agnes, obviously, she wants to know more, and we're in the Hydra facility, and Wanda is going to be exposed to the Mind Stone. Now, the scientists mentioned that that the volunteers never survived this experiment, but one of the other scientists immediately cuts him off. And then
I'll be back.
No problem. So then, boss man, we see the Mind Stone, as Wanda's approaching it, come off Loki's staff, and then it breaks out of the shell which it's in, and it's blue initially, but then it turns yellow. It almost makes me wish that Wanda had the reactions with the Reality Stone, because that feels more in context with what's going on with her. But nevertheless, when she starts seeing the Mind Stone close up, we then see the image, the sort of silhouette image of her Scarlet Witch look. Did you see that as well?
I did indeed.
And
I did.
And so we saw that, and apparently from what
I just like the fact that he comes towards her. And you also feel that there's this sort of like that almost transference of power and transference of chaotic power. Because again, the thing that the stones, when they're on their own, not when they're in the gauntlet, but when they're on their own, were chaotic. Because you could never. I mean, I always thought it was bad writing, but apparently not. Apparently, they'll say that the stones themselves were chaotic in what they did.
Okay, well, she saw an image of herself, and when she sees that image of herself, she then passes out. Now we then go to see. Sorry, go on.
I don't think that was herself. I think that is towards the end of the episode, it was definitely the comic book outfit that everybody knows, with the crown and all that. But
pretty much
I don't
looked
think
like her original outfit with the crown, basically.
Yeah, but I don't think that was supposed to be her. I think that was supposed to be something else. So it might be some kind of magical entity.
Well, that's your theory. I personally think it's her seeing herself from the future. like her future self.
Okay.
To a degree, like because she's pretty much that character anyway. It's got to be her, in my opinion. I mean, like we saw the crown. The crown makes it her, no?
Yeah, but at the same time, if they're saying that the Scarlet Witch is a legend, then had to have been another one before her.
Okay, well look, let's anyway. I bet not every person has the luxury of being near an Infinity Stone, if you know what I mean. I mean.
Have you finished with this part? Like,
no. Well, the part I'm gonna get.
Opinions? Okay.
No, the part I'm gonna get to is that after she sees her that image, she then passes out, and then we get to the scientist's point of view, and they just see her, and then boom, her on the floor. So her, boom, her on the floor. Yeah, they don't see that interaction that we saw her have, and then she ends up in her cell, and then she's watching Brady Bunch. More info regarding her life of growing up watching sitcoms. So what do you guys think of that scene? I'll start with you, Bob. You want more to say?
Yeah. First off, I thought this scene was really, really gaudy. Like, it was just very, like, the Infinity Stone, like the thing coming out and then it exploding, and then the Mind Stone's right there. And to me, that was just a bit. I mean, okay, you can have an explosion and stuff like that, but that whole sequence with the gem coming out and then all the gem exploding, and then the Mind Stone doing its thing, and then it all going back to normal, like, that was just a bit gaudy. I felt like that they didn't need that. It felt like they were trying to make that moment epic, and honestly, it didn't need to be. Like, I mean, if she just looked at it and then, like, there was just a big flash, and then, you know, it just felt like they had the effects budget for it, and they're like, let's just do this because it sounds cool. This is probably the part of the episode that I didn't like, and this is really the only part I didn't like. But I thought it was very over the top, and it didn't need to be that way.
I'll be honest with you. Up till this moment, I'm thinking to myself, I already know pretty much all this shit. You're showing it to me in a different way, but I knew that the Maximoffs didn't like the Starks initially because of them blowing the shit out of their village. I knew that she got her powers, or they enhanced her or the powers that she already had was enhanced by the Mind Stone. I knew all of this. They're just showing us what we already knew, which kind of pissed me off a little bit, because after this we get stuff I didn't know. But anyway, go on.
But here's my other thing is that, okay, so then what happened with Pietro? Like, he walked in the room and the exact same thing happened?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Go on, boss man.
I think he already had the speed, because that's the reason they got away.
Well, him like running away from stuff was just an indication that he was always going to be a speedster, and he did have the Mind Stone experimented on him, which is how he got his powers.
Yeah, but what happened? Like, that's what I'm saying though. I mean, okay, so Wanda has this big epic moment with the Mind Stone, but then what happened with Pietro? Like, he walked in there and then it just like fluttered a little bit, and then he had his powers. Like,
I think him being a twin of Wanda.
There's no rhyme or reason as to why any of this happened the way it did.
I think that she had some power.
Yeah.
This is the way that I read it, was that she had some power, but it wasn't the godlike power that she came to have. That her, because I think Andy says later on, and I think we're going to get to this point. Oh, you interacted with the Mind Stone that elevated your power level. So basically, this is like basically a power that the Infinity Stones are amplifier for the powers you have, which is kind of bullshit. Because why did it not amplify the powers of other heroes? But
yeah, this whole episode's opened up a can of worms, in my opinion.
Well, and that's what I'm kind of saying is, like, as I said, when Pietro walked into that room with the Infinity Stone, I mean, what did it do for him? Like, I know it made him fast, but it's like they have this gaudy little explosion thingy going on. But, like, did that happen with Pietro too? Did the Infinity Stone know that they're mutants, and all of a sudden the Infinity Stone's like, oh shit, I'm gonna come off my little thing and come up and I'm gonna check it out. Like,
and it's one of these tropes that's been done quite a lot, in my opinion, with comic book characters. Like, they had the ability and power all along, but they needed that next thing to unlock it, if you know what I mean. I've seen that so many times, and they've done it this time with Wanda. So let's progress, shall we? So Agatha still needs more information. She's not satisfied. Like, She
Did you ask
understands.
Boss Man on his opinion on the last part?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
He did. Okay.
I thought I did.
I remember you starting with me, and maybe it's just because I talk too much. Anyway,
Okay.
go ahead.
So Agatha needs more. She needs more information, and we get now Wanda at the period of time during Civil War, and she's in her apartment, and we see her and we see her, Vision and Wanda like having their early bonds. Now there's a funny moment, but I'm not sure if you remember in Civil War, the film Civil War, when Wanda's talking to Steve Rogers and Vision just walks in through the wall, and she goes, "Vision, we talked about this, and like Vision being an android, he's still learning." Well, this was for me like the thing they talked about, which I felt which was pretty cool. Sorry, let me just quickly get my notes. So we get them. They're watching some Malcolm in the Middle, and we see obviously the scaffolding fall down and stuff like that. In real life, people be shitting themselves, and Vision was wondering, is this funny because we're supposed to laugh at his injury? But Wanda says no, because it's not that kind of show, which is interesting, which is one of the reasons I think she likes about it. Like, people can get hurt, but they can just brush it off. It's lovely, and then so 1 second, boss man, let me just quickly finish this. Now Vision's learning more about human interactions, and Wanda is still grieving, but he then tells her, like, what is grief? And I had to write this down. What is grief if it's not love persevering? Fuck me, man. Vision is a poet, and he didn't even know it. It was a great
He
little
can rhyme
scene.
anytime.
It was not just that, but it was a great moments between both of them, and it showed you the beginning of their bond, and it was very touching. Boss man, what do you have to say?
I was just going to say, is this like alluding to the fact that her feelings for Vision are all transference, like, because she's had all this loss, like she's lost her parents, she's lost Pietro, and now this guy who's like, who'll never give up on her, who's basically vulnerable, as far as you can tell, that's the reason that she develops feelings for him, because unlike those people, he literally can't be killed. I mean,
Well,
you can't,
I think it starts from Age of Ultron when he saves her, and like he genuinely cared for her. I think it was more not to do with the artificial side of him, but the real side of him. Like, when she was grieving, he was just sitting there by her side, looking after her, willing to talk to her. She was more. He was more of a human to her than human beings were. And she loved him for that. I think it was that she loved him for. He is genuinely a good person. I'm going to talk to him as a human being now. He's genuinely a good person, and how can you not fall in love with somebody like Vision? He's selfless as well. Selfless.
The more important question is, how can you not fall in love with someone like Paul Bettany? Because he is a darn national treasure.
Yeah, he is. So, what else? Cousin Cheeto, you got something to add regarding that scene?
No,
This
was a great character moment between these two, and you're right. It was amazing. I felt like this was one of the most well written scenes in a lot of. I mean, I can't even say television in Marvel. Period. Like, I feel like this scene, as I said, they go from kind of this cattywampus weird scene back in Sokovia with the Mind Stone, and then they go into this very grounded real scene and it brought me right back in. And I mean, I don't know if they knew that they had to do it that way, but it worked nonetheless. It was a great scene, characterized Wanda and Vision. Go ahead, boss man.
I was going to say, but the thing is that I think it made you understand why these two people had a bond, because he legitimately cared. Even though he's a machine, even though he's like an android, he has like human emotions, and and the fact that she's let herself be vulnerable to him, I think is the reason that she's so angry when we see her later. I think
Well, and I think this really encapsulates, because Wanda and Vision on paper is a hard sell for a relationship. Like in the comics, in the MCU, like everyone's like, wait a minute, the robot dude and the chick get together, like back in Age of Ultron. They're like, yeah, they have kids and everything, and they're like, what? But I feel like this scene right here encapsulates why this works, And I mean, it's fantastically done.
This was one of the saddest episodes. When I say saddest, I do mean emotionally wise. I have to admit, when this episode first began, I didn't like it. It felt very CW with that witch scene, but it did get better, and it was this next scene where she goes to Sword, because Agatha's still not satisfied. She needs to know more. She even, like, there's a moment where she's like telling Wanda, so your parents died, Pietro's there, Vision's gone, and like Wanda's like she's like flabbergasted hearing all of this. You know what I mean? It's like,
well,
totally,
if you think about it, she's literally torturing her with her past. She lets you go through like, look, apart from the one with Vision and her in the room, every other memory is a painful memory that she's got to recollect. So it's her parents dying, it's her having a really painful experience with the Mind Stone. There's this where she's literally seeing the person she loves be dissected. Now, again, I'm not a married man. I know you're not, Sam, but we've both been in relationships. I could imagine our reaction to seeing if we saw the person we loved be literally in chunks on different parts of thinking what our reaction would be.
If my sex doll got broken up, I'd be heartbroken beyond belief, man. Just seeing it there with an arm there and the fucking leg over there and the lips over there, and oh god. But yeah, I know what you mean, boss man.
Zam's fleshlight in pieces.
So, let's progress, shall we? So Agatha still not satisfied.
You bastard.
Agatha still not satisfied, needs to know more. So we now see Wanda at Sword, and she's been very civil, by the way, and she's pleading with the receptionist stroke security guard to see Vision's body, and she eventually lets she gets let through, and she blasts the door open and stuff like that. We get to meet Hayward, and this is like the best moments with Hayward, in my opinion, in this show. Hayward shows Wanda Vision's body because that's what she wanted to see. She wanted to see Vision, so he shows her Vision, and unfortunately for Wanda, she sees Vision getting cut up to pieces, and he straight up tells her, "Look, this body is not yours for you to decide." And she even said that she's the next of kin, and that she's all. That's all she's got, and it really made me realize, she is really alone. I mean, she's truly alone. Everyone she's loved has died, and
the next person closest to her is Hawkeye, and I mean that's saying a lot. Like if you think about it.
Yeah, I agree. And like he's got his own shit to deal with. He's got his own family to deal with, and he's gonna have Kate Bishop to deal with, and. He might be able to look out for her, but he can't look after her, if you know what I mean.
Sorry.
Yeah, so anyway, so no problem. So he straight up tells her that the body's not yours, and he is basically a weapon. He's like weapons tech vibranium. We can't bury him either, and He even actually at one point, sorry, Bossman, he even believed at one point that the reason why Wanda came here was because he believed that maybe she was trying to bring him back, and Wanda says no, she can't do that. Sorry, Bossman, quickly add something before I continue, mate.
As I was saying, like you got to remember that Vibranium is the most resilient item of on Earth. So
yeah, but that's a metal. That's not like a living thing, is it, man? It's a metal. What's that got to do with him coming back to life?
Because he's a lot of money. You got to remember to the
yeah. I agree from that perspective. I mean, this is why I thought Hayward had a leg. Had an argument here, in my opinion. He doesn't belong to you. And he is a dangerous thing. We can't just bury him. And there's research to be done with this guy. And it's unfortunate it's resolved like this, but I understand where he's coming from. I'm not sure about you guys. Chio.
I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, I think I agree with him in the fact that it's silly to bury 3 billion or 7 billion or whatever, however many billions of dollars. He's a weapon, though.
You can't just bury a weapon. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that much amount of weapon, like that much amount of vibranium just to bury it in the ground. I understand that, but they could have at least worked with her in a way where at least she had some closure. Well, they gave her no
Well,
closure at all. And I get it, she was gone.
As far as Hayward was concerned, they did. As far as he was concerned, they did, because he let her see the body. She broke the glass and she floated down there, and she, goes, look, just let her see the body, and she did. I mean, what more can he do? He was being as helpful and as considerate as possible by even letting
I think he did all of this on purpose. I think he's manipulating Wanda just as much as
I agree.
Agatha Harkness
He's manipulating her.
Wanda.
Look, he doesn't. I think at the end of the day, he's still he's still an arsehole. But I do feel he had some points there, but it's kind of cold and callous, but they're points nevertheless. So she actually touches Vision's head and says she feels nothing. But remember that moment, I feel you and stuff like that. She says she can't. She says she can't feel him. She never, by the way, and this was after, but she leaves the place. She never stole her body. So that theory was thrown out the window after today's episode, because people this whole time since episode 3, I believe, where she saw the hole in his head, people for the last 5 weeks have been thinking that she stole Vision's body, because we also saw in episode 4 where where Hayward manipulated the footage, making it look like she stole the body. So anyway, she goes into a car and she finds a note, like a letter, a deed. I don't know how this thing ended up in her car, but it's a plot of land Vision had bought in a rural area in New Jersey, and she finds this town called Westview. Sorry, go on. You're trying to say something.
I think it's something that was like left in his will or something. I think she already had it, but she didn't open it until after she saw the body and stuff like that. So anyway, keep going.
No
Just
problem.
small detail.
So actually, before I start going to Westview, we'll end up there. This moment between her and Sword, and Hayward especially, Boss Man, what would you want to add to that? Because I think personally Hayward came out okay in this, and it gave him better character development, which is something he's been lacking this show.
I agree with what the cheater just said. That I think that he's got maybe like an alternative motive, like, because the thing is that he doesn't really fit into what else we've known about him. So I think that he does have.
No, I agree. I agree.
And he called Vision a weapon, not a person.
Yeah, I agree, and said he was online and not alive, but he said that first. I totally agree with all of that. He still gave valid reasons, and he's supposed to be part of the good guys. He's supposed to be, and he considers himself to be. Just a different way of looking at things. But he was trying to do the right thing, and he did, basically bend the rules for Wanda as much as possible by even allowing her to break the glass and walk out and shit like that, break the door open and stuff. But he was an arsehole with doctoring the footage. I'm not doubting that. But I just said in this moment, if we got this moment a lot earlier, it would have been a lot better for his character, because we knew what sort of person he ended up being. It doesn't do his character too much justice, but I did like this moment with Hayward. I thought it was his best moment in the show. So any more on that before I start going on to Westview?
Nope.
So she finds a town called Westview after looking at that note, and she drives through. She sees some of the regular people we saw there in the past. We saw Herb very briefly. He looked nothing like the Herb in the past. It's amazing. It was the same actor. We saw Norm putting up posts for piano lessons. We saw the postman, just like a regular pizza delivery guy. We saw Dottie there. We saw the old lady from the first episode drinking and stuff like that. This town was really shitty, and she finally comes up to that plot of land, and she opens up the deed, and she says, a place to grow old together, and it just absolutely tears her apart. The grief in her, and the grief explodes out of her chest, and we see the birth of the hex. And then the whole town starts transferring as well, but it covers the whole town, and then it starts transferring the whole town, and it starts turning it into the black and white version, but it's the beginning of the hex. And we then see Wanda manifest. Now this is where it gets a bit weird for me and a bit sick, because she kind of almost gives birth to Vision. I mean, we see yellow energy coming out of her, which creates Vision to do with the Mind Stone and stuff like that.
Well, and technically it's red coming out of her, and then it transfers to yellow,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I think is very important
yeah. Okay, fair enough.
in the creation of a Vision.
And she basically manifests Vision, and then Wanda's still in color, sees Vision, and she gives into the fantasy, and then boom, she turns black and white, and sorry, I just apologize. Yeah, and then we see the whole, and then we cut to Wanda, obviously, and she sees herself doing all of this, and then boom, we see an actual move, like a set, like a comedy set.
Audience.
And, yeah, and Agnes is there, and she is able to put all the pieces together. We then hear the kids scream, and we see Agatha floating in the sky, and she's got a lassos around the kids' necks, and she then mentions that, you know, you're using your power for stupid things like creating breakfast for dinner. You got all this amazing power, and you're right about the, you know, like the professional jealousy on this. And she says, Wanda, you are doing chaos magic that makes you the Scarlet Bitch. I mean, so many people must have shot their loads over this. I mean, you can imagine, yeah, you could have so many amazing reveals, like fucking Sean Connery at the end of fucking Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Luke Skywalker. You could have Pietro and stuff like that. But I think more people shot their load. Finally, hearing the two words Scarlet Witch mentioned in the MCU after 7 years of her.
And it also was pretty organic too. I felt like it was the right place and the right time for it, just because it came from a magic user. It's not just some Cisco from the Flash made name. It's like it is a legend. It is a thing in you know, the magician's history. You know that, you know. So I mean, it felt very organic.
Yeah, it felt organic too. But there's a lot. There was a lot in here, and I went to the end. So the moment she came into Westview, saw the old town folk, saw this shithole of an area run down and everything, and then the hex being created, and then Agatha finding out everything, the origins of it, and her creating the Vision we have. So I'll mention later on, but we haven't finished yet. But there will be two Visions now. But did you not find it a little bit incestual that she created her own lover? But I couldn't help but think that, you know, I found that really creepy. No, boss man.
I didn't think it was creepy. I just thought it's like when you miss somebody you're in love with, you want them to come back. I mean, like, I mean, I've had exes in my life that I've wanted to come back. I mean, but I don't think that I recreated them in this sort of way. But I agree what you mean with the creepy part, though.
Yeah. Did you find all of that satisfying? Because the funny thing is, Bob, is that we a lot of us pieced, even though we did get certain things wrong, like her not stealing the body and stuff like that, a lot of this stuff we already knew, and a lot of this stuff we kind of pieced together, like maybe her growing up watching sitcoms. So did this satisfy you?
Okay, so here's my thing with Vision. She created a whole nother Vision. Now we've got two. What is the power? I mean, I know this will be answered probably in the next episode, but what is the power level of this new Vision? Obviously, he's supposed to have the Mind Stone in his forehead, but did she create an actual Mind Stone, or is it just, you know, just for it's just for look, it's not as powerful?
Aesthetic.
Huh?
It's aesthetic.
An aesthetic, yeah. But I mean, here I kind of don't like the fact that she created a new Vision. I kind of like the idea of this being a Weekend at Bernie's situation where, like, Vision's dead body is just walking around and Wanda's controlling it with her hex magic and stuff like that. And I mean, you know, we can also go back and talk about the Pietro of it all. I don't like well, and we'll get to Pietro more, even though he wasn't in this episode at all. But I don't like the fact that she just created. What's to say she can't create another Vision?
No, Pietro. Pietro was never created. What happened is that this Evan Peters is just a bit of fan service and an Easter egg because they used him before. But I don't think we're going to. I think this also puts a nail in the coffin that we're going to be getting many Fox Universe characters. This guy was just somebody Agnes used to get through to Wanda, because remember in that episode, she, you know, Pietro basically said to her, "So how do you do this? You know, I'm playing along, it's a part and stuff like that. But how do you do this?" Because that was Agnes speaking through Pietro to Wanda because she was manipulating that guy, whoever that guy is, who happens to be Evan Peters, who played the character of Pietro in this episode.
Which honestly I hate. Like I really hate the fact that they're not. I mean, I get it. Like they're not going to just bring. Well, they could have. They could have just brought Evan Peters in. But here's the thing.
We'll be back.
No problem.
Here's the thing: is that so now that's my train of thought. Because I mean, we're dealing. She's a magic user. We can deal with the multiverse within this scope. So she could have easily just said, "Oh yeah, I just plucked a different Pietro out of another universe to use against you."
Yeah, but she's not like that. It's already been, unfortunately, it's been kind of grounded that she's not that level of witch where she can go into different units. She's a manipulator.
She's been doing this for far longer than Stephen Strange. I don't know how.
No, but
I'm sorry, and you're going to say, "Oh, he's the Sorcerer Supreme."
No, Bullshit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying and also, by the way, when we were at the Sorcerer's headquarters, there was a book missing. A lot of people believe that book missing is the book that Agatha has.
I think they just took a book out and they decided to use it later. I mean, that's just another Kevin Feige retcon.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But now,
I mean, that's fine if they want to retcon that. That's great. Whatever.
I understand, but I just feel that her magic is a bit different because she never even considered the Infinity Stones until she realized that they played a part in this. You know.
I will be crossed next week if what kills Agnes is the magic.
Well, I hope she doesn't get killed.
Well, unfortunately, the Marvel universe, the MCU, has set the precedence of we do not believe in preserving villains.
I don't disagree with you. I get it. They have killed some people. I understand that.
A lot.
I mean, but look how many have survived. I mean, you've got Abomination still out there. You've got Loki still out there. You've got
Baron Zemo.
You've got
Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo is a big one.
Ghost still in there?
Ghost is still out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go through
the other Ant-Man character, played by Walter Goggins, he's still in there.
Yeah, he's still.
What's his name now?
I mean, there's a ton of people out there that are still alive, and I get it. Like in Black Panther, they killed both villains for some reason, but I mean that's not Thor Ragnarok. Surtur's still alive. Hela is not dead. Let's be real.
I think Hela's dead, but I'm fine with that. Look, outside we're gonna go to the post-credit scene now. So we're outside the Hex, and we see Hayward. He's about to prepare this new weapon. Now, from last week, I thought this new weapon was going to be a rocket of some sort, but it isn't. So they were never able to get the weapon to start because they were never able to get the right sort of energy source. They tried every energy source available, but somehow the drone, which Wanda shot back out of the bubble, is still covered in her wonder powers, which is weird. And they used
wonder powers.
Yeah, and they got her wonder powers, and then they were able to charge this weapon. And then what we end up seeing is West Coast Avenger Vision, and he's self-aware. He's all white and shit, looking at his hand and stuff, being self-aware. And immediately, I got X-24 vibes from Logan. Immediately. I don't know about you guys. Did you think that? No.
No.
Not at all.
You didn't think X-24 from Logan? No, like you got good Vision and bad Vision. You got good Wolverine and bad Wolverine.
Oh well, I mean, I got that thought, but my first thought was not Logan.
Really? That was my first thought immediately. X-24, and that was Logan. So anyway, I'm not saying the film Logan, but obviously the character X-24 from Logan.
No, we
Yeah. So, are you guys kind of happy with seeing West Coast Avenger Vision now? I mean, by the way, he had something in his head. It looked like a mini arc reactor. Is that what's powering him?
That could be a good solution because again the mind still got destroyed, so maybe an arc reactor could be a good way of powering him. The thing is that, as I said, I know that you guys want the kids to exist. I kind of don't, because I think that the fact that they could be not killed, but like that she's forced to confront the reality of they don't exist could be the thing that catapults her to being, the next top villain of the next phase of the MCU. That's just my opinion.
With these past 2 episodes, I don't think they're going that route. I would like that too if they make her the next big bad. But with the way they're building these last couple episodes up, I don't believe that's where they're heading.
So do you think it's going to be Mephisto then?
No, man. I think Mephisto's anywhere near this, mate. I think we've done with Mephisto. I think the fact that cicada bug was not even used to make Mephisto come to life means that I think Mephisto, if he does happen, he's not happening on this show. We might get red herrings, we might get Easter eggs, which might sow the seed for something in the future, but definitely not now. That's just my opinion.
No, and here's the other thing with the Vision versus Vision thing. I mean, am I glad? No, I don't really. But as I said, I was kind of getting to the point before about the Vision in the Hex. What is his power set? Can he exist? Because a lot of things that they send into the Hex can come back out, transformed. But if she created the twins and Vision within the Hex, and she didn't like transform them from anything, like it's like a replicator, in Star Trek. Like she didn't transform like a couch into Vision. She didn't transform like 2 apples into her kids. They were creations in the Hex. So that means, can they exist outside of the Hex? I think no, because we saw what happened to Vision when he tried to leave.
Yeah, he literally got such about saying. I don't think again this is. I don't know. It's gonna be a tricky road unless maybe as I said, if she took his body in and everything that Hayward said that she was worried that she could bring him back to life, and that happened. And instead of nothing, he had an accurate reaction put in his head. And all this, these episodes have been her trying.
They done that in 4 days, by the way, 4 or 5 days. They done that. So the moment she was there at Sword, because she went straight to Westview, and then in that same day she created the Hex. So within a week.
So it's been a week.
Within a week, from the moment his body's all cut up, they had him looking fucking whiter than fucking Michael Jackson. Actually whiter than the albino character he played in fucking Da
Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah. And Paul Bettany played that character, a killer monk. But yeah, so he looks whiter than that, and I kind of lost what I was going to say.
Well, I was just going to say, I know it's not really pertinent to this, but something we might want to talk about who's going to be the new Superman, but that might be a different chat.
Mate, no, don't bring that up, please. Please, we're talking WandaVision. You can't be bringing that up in this, man. Yeah, please. No, respect the stream, man. Don't bring up Superman on the Marvel stream about WandaVision, mate. It's his WandaVision episode 8. Yeah,
I will do. Anyway, but on a serious note, I do think that this is maybe a setup for, as I said, maybe Agnes becomes a new sort of nemesis for Wanda. I'm hoping that this is what happens.
Man, she was the nemesis from day one. It was no setup. The setup is already there, and now we got the payoff. She's the bad guy.
But the thing is, what I mean is that she's recurring in Wanda's life. Maybe there's a not WandaVision, but maybe there's another one where Agnes messes her in a different way.
Where are you getting this from?
Or Agnes gets defeated by Wanda, and Agnes joins the Thunderbolts, and she can be their magic user.
I want to quickly add, that this is Disney, and what we've seen is a lot of tragedy with Wanda. So being Disney, I feel they might give her a win. In my opinion, I think they're going to give her a win of some sort to make her happy. Personally, I think she still needs the tragedy, which is what makes her such a unique character. She's got all this power, all this amazing power, and all she knows is grief, which is what makes her such a complex character. But whether they go down that route or not, I'm not so sure. But I think they'll give her a win at the next episode.
But my problem is a couple fold. One, as I said, they need to have more recurring villains, and two, they need to have, as I said, one of the you see enough of like the heroes win, and I think you guys have touched on this before. Right, it'd be good to see a villain win, and then like having to see Wanda because like she's never tasted defeat before. Her powers have gotten her out of any situation she's found herself in, more or less.
Well, this show needs to end in two ways. It needs to end in a way that ends the show. At the same time, it also needs to end in a way that it leads to whatever it leads, whether it be Spider-Man 3 or the Multiverse of Madness. In some capacity, it needs to go to those directions because this is not the last we're going to see of Wanda Maximoff. And I do feel the way she's been treated recently and the good reception, and Elizabeth Olsen's amazing acting skills, that I feel that she's going to be one of the big players in the future in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Villain, hero, grey character. She's going to be around, and they're not going to get rid of an amazing talent like her. And it'll be interesting to see where this goes in the future because we've got one episode left, still no Avengers on the scene, which is kind of remarkable by now.
Vision is on the scene. Hello.
Yeah. So the problem I had with this episode is that we never got a continuation with the supporting cast. So once Monica confronted Pietro, we never saw anything from that. We don't know what Jimmy Woo's up to. We don't know what Darcy and Vision are up to. Oh, actually, Vision did leave Darcy on a Jack Jones. So we know that, but we don't know what Darcy's still doing now. We don't know where Vision is. I mean, I'm sure Vision will come in there and stop Agatha from. He'll definitely have his part in stopping Agatha. I don't think Agatha will realize that Vision's around and stuff like that. And you know what's kind of amazing about Vision is that even though Wanda created him, he's kind of sentient. He's self-aware. And it makes sense now because I have no memory of my life because he was born, the day of the Hex, on that very moment. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I somehow feel that this Vision Wanda's created is going to somehow inhabit West Coast Avengers Vision's body. What do you think? That's my end game on that. So I think Paul Bettany is a big deal for the MCU. I mean, for Kevin Feige and stuff. They've got good chemistry with Wanda. They've got a good thing going. I think he'll want to keep him.
I want Paul Bettany's Vision to be around forever. Like, I mean, I'm glad that they brought Vision back. I don't know if I'm exactly thrilled the way. I want
to go on about the death thing with you because a lot of people don't like the idea of somebody coming back from the dead. Vision's a robot, so I have a different. So it does feel different when it comes to Vision, So.
But I think the problem is that like he's what's the word?
Synthezoid.
He just is like a very simple.
Is it toaster?
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like, oh, I just need to fix this bit. It's like, no, he was literally a being with his own. Because literally, when he became sentient, when he came alive, he says, "Well, I don't know if I'm Jarvis anymore. I don't know who I am."
Yeah, I know that, but his biology, not his consciousness. His biology is machinery, and for that reason,
that's the other thing is why he doesn't remember anything before Westview because he didn't exist before Westview.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it's a manifestation. It will be interesting to see if what occurs from this. I wouldn't mind in the future if this is the new Vision, like the West Coast Avengers White Vision. I wouldn't mind that him taking over and we still get Vision, but a different form of him now.
You're talking about the white one or the
white one? The white one.
So the original Vision,
which is the original Vision. Yeah. I wouldn't mind that being the new Vision, and stuff like that, and maybe something can come from that. It'll be interesting to see, but I mean, it's weird in a way. I do feel, that they're going to try and give a happy ending. And regarding those kids, a lot of people think that those kids are not going to make it. I do feel they're going to make it simply because it's Disney. Disney love to kill the parents, not the adults. Not the kids. I mean,
I don't think that that's going to be a factor. Like I agree with you. I think they might make it, but I don't think it's because they won't kill the kids. I think this series has proved that they're willing to go there.
they did. They kind of went there a little bit with the kid dying on the island and stuff like that. But they don't
Yeah,
want
that's
to.
what I'm saying. Like
But they don't want to keep going there. Like, this is the show where all the kids die. You know, what I mean, maybe one is fine, but after that they're done. You know.
No, I think they're gonna. The reason why the kids will survive is because of this and Young Avengers.
I just want to make sure people understand that Wanda has not got you know, she hasn't been vindicated because of all of this. She still took over a town and took people hostage mentally. So a lot of people were wondering, was it Agatha or was it Wanda? No, it was Wanda. She took over everyone. The only person she didn't take over was Agatha. She was in control of her own mind the whole time, and she just wanted to know who Wanda was. You know, it's like Agatha, in my opinion, was like being an investigator. Like, this is Hex Bubble. Oh, let's just see what this is all about. You know, before the Hex Bubble, probably Agatha was just doing her own shit, not giving a fuck about anything.
Well, the thing is that she's been around for what, over 400 years. So so obviously, like, she must know some shit that what's the word? That Wanda doesn't even know. So I think that's going to be like the big difference in the.
Well, she had to study. She had to, you know, like, Wanda is like the Flash, and Agnes is like Oliver McQueen. Like, Wanda just got these powers and is able to do shit like create a fucking bubble, yeah, at a whim, you know, and she didn't even have to fucking do it. Or someone like Agatha had to train years just to fucking turn a fly into a bird. You know what I mean? Just to manipulate people, she had to study years for that. And that's the difference. That, like, she's like, you know, and that's when you mentioned earlier, Bob, regarding the professional jealousy. It's going to be interesting to see what pans out from this, because they've got. I don't think all the questions are going to be answered. I think that's the whole point about a series. You can't answer everything, but I do think.
But I am going to say this: if they kill off Agatha, I am going to be pissed off.
I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off, dude. You know, I mean, right now, Catherine Hahn is hot property. Her stock is through the roof.
And we also don't have enough. In my opinion, we don't have enough big name magic users, because we have Doctor Strange, Mordo, the Ancient One's technically dead.
Wong.
So it's Wong, and there was one on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't even really count her, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of meh, like in this universe. So it's
throw in Scarlet and Agatha, you got 5. That's a decent amount.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, though. We need more magic users, and honestly, I don't consider Scarlet Witch she's kind of a half magic user. Like, yes, she uses magic, but that's not the first thing I think of. I think of mutants when I think of Scarlet Witch. So, I mean, but we need more, like, dedicated, like, people who were normal prior to learning magic, because Scarlet Witch is like the prodigal daughter. Like, she's the one that just found all this power, and as you were saying, like Oliver Queen and Barry Allen, it's like, you know, I'm glad that we have, like, a person who has trained with magic for a long time, you know, and, you know, kind of like Mordo.
And I think Agatha is not like the Agatha we saw a few hundred years ago, because, you know, she's wizened up, and she's lived many lives, so to speak, for many centuries. So I do feel that character then and the character now of Agatha, it would be different. I'm not sure if you guys think. I think she might even, like, be, because she's always been considered to be a bit of an anti-hero, grey area character in the comics, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit, because I think she thinks that Wanda is the threat, and she's going to try and deal with it, and even if it means doing harsh things like killing Scratchy and their kids.
I think she just wants to know how. I don't think she's anti-hero. I think she just wants the power that Wanda has, and I think if she had that power, she would do bad things with it. So I think
agree,
she's a villain.
You make a good point. Yeah, I think you make a good point.
I think she wants that power so she can have, like, so she can use that power. She's not trying to stop her. She's trying to just use her.
What do you think Agatha's goals are? Because, again, I think they've been a bit, like, nebulous, like, you know.
No,
because, like,
she wants to know how she came on the scene.
I mean, overall, because, like, it's like, you know, we know her goals are to find out how Scarlet Witch does stuff.
She wants to do it herself. I mean, like she wants to be able to.
Wants to go to overall.
She wants to do it herself. You know, like she wants to be able. But after at the very end, she realized, shit, this is the Scarlet Witch. She does chaos magic. This person cannot be allowed to live, and I think that's her goal now, to kill.
Yeah, but I don't
Wanda.
think she's doing it out of like, oh, we have to stop her before she becomes a problem. It's more like, oh shit, this could be bad for everybody, including myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she sees the bigger picture.
Would she see a parallel to what happened to her with that thing in 1693 or whatever it was?
Possibly.
Where she was like, she literally say, well, this is. She literally say to Wanda, look, when they found out that they thought I could be dangerous, you're trying to kill me. It's only by the fact that I had studied and absorbed this type of magic that I've got to do. They're going to do the same to you. They're going to come for you. And it'd be great to see Agatha, like, you know, use her experience to try and manipulate Wanda in that sort of way.
I mean, she could. I mean, that would be very much like the comics if she did manipulate Wanda in that way. She has been manipulating her to a degree. I mean, in the show, you kind of saw her trying to extract information out of her. You saw her not try to get too friendly with Monica Rambeau. She was always visiting, trying to be close to the kids and stuff like that. My problem is that if the hexes and the runes are there to stop Wanda from using her powers, then why the fuck did she go outside at the end where she's made herself vulnerable to Wanda's magic? Didn't you find that a bit weird?
That is a good point. I didn't even think about it. That's a good point.
That was the first thing I thought of the moment she went outside. Why the fuck are you going outside and making yourself vulnerable to her magic when you were safe in that bloody thing and you had her under your thumb? You know, it's just weird.
Well, it's a plot hole, is what it is.
Mate, this show's full of plot holes, man. I have to be honest with you. There's a few. You know, like, I'll give you another one, yeah? This is the one I want to give you. If the vision inside the hex is manifested by Wanda, then how the hell was Darcy able to trace Vision back in episode 6 when they infiltrated Sword's camp?
I know why.
Yeah.
Because if she manifested Vision, and if he has vibranium, which that means that Wanda can manifest vibranium, okay. That means because
but he had like a code on him, like he had a tracer.
They were tracking the degradation of the state of decay of vibranium. So if he had vibranium, if this Vision is made of vibranium inside the hex, that means that they are tracking that Vision because they were watching for the vibranium.
So that's what they were doing.
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. It just felt. It felt like a massive plot hole to me. It felt like a massive plot hole to me. So one more episode left, and then we're going to be in a void for a week after that, with nothing until Falcon and Winter Soldier the following week. So
it'll be good to have a break.
So what do you expect from this next episode? What do you want from this next episode? I'll start with you, Boss Man. Hello, Boss Man. Boss Man.
Sorry, I'm having problems. Sorry.
You sure you weren't watching something else? Okay.
No, I wasn't watching. I said I was on some internet problems. Sorry.
Okay. So we're on the final episode. Yeah. I don't know if it's so the rumors it might be an hour long. Heard it's going to be a bit of an action fest. What do you want? What do you want from it?
I want something like, as I said, that has action, but is also more character based. So, where we find out something about Wanda we didn't know. So maybe like she does have, let's say, anger issues, or she does have. I don't know.
Don't you want resolutions instead of finding out more? Don't you want resolutions instead? You know, we're on the final episode now. I don't want more. Things to be opened. I want more things to be closed.
Okay, so I reckon what we'll find out is that Hayward was working for somebody else.
Yeah, he worked for Sword.
No, instead of Sword, he's working for somebody else. I don't think Hydra, but I think he'll be working for, like, maybe Doctor Doom or Mephisto.
Well, there's the rumors regarding Hayward, and these are more credible rumors than Apocalypse, is that he might be a Skrull.
But
do
the
you guys
thing is,
think of that?
No,
One
because
of the bad
Skrulls
Skrulls, one of the bad ones, because apparently they're gonna make the Skrulls bad eventually. I think.
just because the Skrulls in Captain Marvel were very good. But the thing is, the reason I said Apocalypse is because in the cartoon, Apocalypse was playing like this anti-mutant like knobhead, and I thought that what Hayward was being is like this. But then after this episode, I was like, I don't know. He seems to have more warmth than that. But he said to Wanda, "Oh, don't stand down to the rest of the team when they start bringing the guns out and stuff like that." I was just like, all right, so he does have some humanity after all. But is that a way that maybe like he was manipulating Wanda to do what she did? He wanted to see what
He could never have predicted her creating a hex. Let's just be honest. Nobody could have. You know, he could never have predicted that. But he did want to make sure that if he let Wanda see the body and realize there was nothing she could do, that she would just fuck off out of their lives and not have to disturb them
Or maybe
again.
he wanted to see if she could reactivate him.
Definitely.
He thought it was like win-win for him anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If she doesn't, then she's out of the way.
I think he's just like a corporate shell, basically.
He's not corporate. I mean, he's working for the government, but
a government shell.
No, here's what I think's gonna happen. I think Haywood is just a jerk, ish, and I think that he just wanted to have a it's like Avengers when they found out that they were trying to make weapons out of the Tesseract. They're trying to harness something they're not supposed to harness, and that's why what's going to happen is this Vision is either going to turn on everybody or turn on Haywood at the end. And maybe this Vision's going to destroy the Hex Vision, and then this Vision turns on Haywood. And I don't think Haywood's gonna die. I don't think Haywood's working for anybody crazy like Mephisto or
he's
Hydra.
Working for fucking Nick Fury. That's who he's working
yeah, I don't
for.
think I don't think he is. I could see maybe him selling the schematics of the Vision.
I can't see that. I think
I could see that.
I don't think I think he's Thunderbolt Ross. He's not a traitor. You know what I mean? He's Thunderbolt Ross level of inconvenience. He's the grey area inconvenience. He could be your ally. He could be your enemy sort of character, which is where he should be. I like the fact I like the fact that when we saw him, even though look, he's an arsehole. There's not doubt about that. Yeah. But he still tries to play nice. He tried to play nice with Monica, and he tried to play nice with Wanda. And he gave.
But yeah, when push came to shove, he was the asshole he needed to be. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying even I hope for this, but I was thinking maybe they sell the schematics to Boulevard Trask or something. If we are bringing Fox things into it, which I really, with the way they're doing Pietro now, I don't think so.
As I said, I hope that, as I said, Jimmy Webb becomes some sort of high level insult because he's so awesome. I want to see him in more stuff.
He might end up taking over from Haywood if they go around that route, which I hope they don't want. I personally want Haywood to be in this a lot more. I want him to be the new Thunderbolt Ross in this show. I want him to be there as an antagonist who's on their side. You know what I mean? To a degree. Because those are interesting characters, because the whole point, the thing with Sword and Shield and stuff like that, not everyone is the righteous do-gooder. There are people on your team who are assholes. You know what I mean? You can't fool everyone. Not everyone he's got the same sort of vibe as Nick Fury and Coulson and Captain America. You're going to get people in that contingent who are not the good guys, who are good guys but who have a different way of looking at things, if you know what I mean, like Haywood, and they're willing to maybe go a bit low to get things done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So and I want some resolution with Hex Vision and the kids. That's I mean, I want to know whether the kids are going. I mean, that's all I want. From the end of this, I think we're going to get resolution between the two Visions, and I think we're going to get resolution with the kids. I think Agatha is going to, after she gets beaten by, whether it's by Wanda and her family or whether it's by Hayward's Vision or whether I think Agatha's going to fuck off. I think Hayward's going to fuck off after he fails, And I think Wanda is going to kind of be at this impasse with this vision that is her vision, but not her vision at this point. Because, again, I'm going back to the comic books. This happened in the comic books. When Vision was rebuilt, and like it was after Vision was destroyed, Vision was rebuilt as the White Vision, and he wasn't the same Vision. It wasn't Wanda's Vision that she married. So
different
this is
person.
kind of the comics playing out here.
I'm liking it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like we're going to be at an impasse with these characters, and I think they're not going to leave it open-ended per se. They might and as I said, they might tease like a Mephisto or like or Nightmare from, because they said that there's going to be tie-ins to Doctor Strange. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of tease at the end of this. But I don't feel like it's going to be like Nightmare shows up and like is the big baddie of the season, and Agatha works for Nightmare, and yada yada.
I just sort of thought, maybe it's just like a thought, maybe this is what is leading to Sword creating Gravitron, who's literally like one of the most powerful villains in the MCU.
Did you just say Graviton?
Yeah, Gravitron. Yeah.
I'm just totally lost. Graviton.
No, I don't think they're going to create Graviton. Technically,
sounds like
Graviton
something from
was an
fucking Transformers.
No.
Graviton is a very powerful villain that
he literally can control gravity.
He can control one of the four major elements of the universe.
This is just as bad as Apocalypse, boss man.
No. What I'm saying is that this is what these swords created it. Is they're literally
creating, but they've already creating him like through Vision, or like creating a whole new body.
No. Like, they find a guy that they can experiment on, and they literally say, "Look, we can't control Wanda. We need somebody who can literally shoot her into space."
I see where you're going with this, but I don't know. I mean,
there's no groundwork at the moment for this to even be an idea.
But I'm just saying this starts the ball rolling.
Yeah, but there's no groundwork to it, boss man.
Like, Graviton was already on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Let me give you something.
I mean, I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not like canon anymore, but I don't feel like they're going to go down that route.
Let me give you a more better theory. Yeah? A lot of people are saying that Ultron.
It's Apocalypse.
No, Ultron is the guy, because Ultron might rebirth through the West Coast Avenger Vision, because that was supposed to be his body in the first place. And that seems to be a more viable way of bringing back a villain that's already established in the MCU. And a good villain at that, in my opinion. So that seems to be more plausible, with the groundwork's there, boss man. Not fucking Graviton, who sounds like he's from the Transformers, for fuck's sake.
You know what? Educate yourself. Look, I like Graviton as a villain. He's awesome. But
yeah, but
I agree. I agree with Zam that there's not even groundwork.
I'm going to say something that's a bit controversial now. The Avengers Ultimate Earth's Mightiest
Heroes. Yeah, two-parter. I love it. It is like one of the best episodes.
It's one of the best cartoons ever made.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I don't give a shit who hears it. And it's a lot better than some of the films that have been made about it.
No, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is fantastic. I love it. I would swear by it. And that's my first thought when you said Graviton. I'm like, God, I would love to see a fight between Graviton and the Avengers in the MCU. The problem is that Zam is right in the point that there's not even any groundwork. You might be right that this might be like the little like sprout of them basically saying, well, we need, you need a nuclear deterrent, for Wanda, and then they make Graviton, but still, it's
because literally, if she cannot breathe, she cannot cast magic.
Look, this is what I want. This is what I want from the last episode. For a start, I want some fucking Avengers.
No, you don't want Avengers.
I want some Avengers. I want some Avengers because they need
Avengers, Zam.
Dude, this is some next level shit, and the Avengers should be dealing with this.
No,
you know what I mean? I want to see Clint
that's
Barton.
The problem is that when you have too many crossovers. Look, this is a thing. Believe it or not, this is not a world-ending event yet. This really isn't.
Dude, we're talking about something which is unseen by people, like somebody creating alternative realities and stuff like that.
Nobody knows it's really going on except for Sword.
Yeah, but she's like taking over people's lives, like thousands of people, they mentioned. She's now taken hostage over 1,000 people manipulating their lives, thousands of people, and they need to get the good guys in here to stop this shit.
Okay, that's practical thinking, yes, but at the same time, I don't want that. I don't want Avengers running in to save the day, because that's the practical and boring answer.
But the point is if one of their own has gone rogue, it makes more sense. They do come in to save the day, especially the ones who can get through to her. You know, I just find it a bit bizarre. I'm getting feedback, by the way. I find it a bit bizarre that we haven't seen any Avengers at all at this particular moment, and I'll be shocked if we don't get a cameo from one or two in the next episode. You would think by now that people like Rhodey, Clint, Bruce, you know, Stephen Strange, they'd all be there at some particular point in some way to offer their expertise.
I think what they're gonna do. This is my personal opinion, that they're gonna have like Vision do something to interfere with what's going on.
Which Vision? Which one?
The one that fell on the van.
Inside the hex or outside the hex?
Inside.
Yeah, that's how you
inside the hex. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he's gonna do something to like help her. And I think that's going to be the sort of like Avengers thing that we're going to see. As I said, I will be very shocked if that's not the case. And as I said, that's going to suck because, as I said, because what I'd want to see is Agatha, as I said, pull the like full power potential out of Scarlet Witch. That's what I want to see. You know, that she uses her children, she uses Vision, she uses everything she's been through, saying, look what the world's given you, and look what I've given you. I've shown you the truth. I've shown you, like, you know, all you created for yourself is a fantasy. This is reality.
Well, you know what, Bossman? I want to see at some point maybe Wanda being able to control these next level powers that she has within her, like being able to do it at will, and that's what I want to see from her. But do you think she's now, after this, but I want to wrap this up now.
Let's wrap this up, please.
I mentioned earlier that I think now that Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, will be one of the top tier Avengers. What do you guys think after this? Like, we're talking for Iron Man, Captain America level as their replacements.
Probably, but I mean, I honestly kind of wanted her to be like the new Hulk, like being on the run. You know, like always, just like she's the one, like she's in the shadows. She's always wanting to stay out of the limelight. She, you know, just like Bruce Banner's always in the wind. She wants to be in the wind all the time. So that's what I wanted. I don't think we're gonna get that at this point. Seeing how they're building things up and doing things, and I could be wrong, but I really think that this is going to end with, probably you're right, her being one of the top tier Avengers now, and either
I wanted her to be the villain, but I mean, there's still, like I said, she still has to answer for taking people's minds hostage and manipulating their lives. She has to answer for that. They cannot let that slide. Do you agree?
Zam, that was not her. That was Apocalypse.
But do you agree? They need to somehow. She needs to be culpable for that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I really do feel like she didn't realize what she was doing for a time, but I think towards the end, especially by the Halloween episode, she was pretty well aware of what she was doing.
She made the bubble bigger, you know,
yeah.
and she ended up like manipulating Sword and all of that. You know, a lot of people, and we're talking about people just following orders, you know, not like the main guys. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because I think she might end up being like a Hulk character, like the new Hulk. Because that current Hulk is no longer on the run, so he's a superhero now, proper.
Was on the run.
But the funny thing is, she doesn't need to run away from anyone. Anyone steps up to her, she can fuck them over.
Yeah, but here's the thing: she doesn't want to also be assaulted 24 hours a day by the U.S. government. That's why the Hulk can take out anybody, but he was always on the run because he didn't want to hurt people, and he just didn't want to. He didn't want to be used, or you know, they were always trying to take him in for experimentation. And I think that's what's going to happen with Wanda, if this plays out the way I want it to. She's going to be on the run because she just wants to be below the radar. She doesn't want to be disturbed by anybody. She wants to do her thing. And I mean, you know,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out, I guess, next week. Bossman, you any final words before we finish this?
Yeah. I hope it's a really good ending that I don't see coming. That's all I hope for.
Likewise. Well, whatever answers and theories we've had today might all change next week. We'll find out. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Discord. Our logo for Nerd Nation on YouTube you'll see on Facebook and Discord. That's how you know that that's our Nerd Nation and not somebody else's, because a lot of people happen to call themselves Nerd Nation. Blame the guy down there for calling this group Nerd Nation. Lack of originality. He's American. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.
Apocalypse.